All right, welcome everyone. We have got another special podcast. We got my man Saul Amezcua, who is live. He's in Cali, and he is going to be with us here today talking about many things: cards, shoes, well, shoes, of course, and a ton of other stuff. We're going to run through his career and where he's at. Saul, how's it going?
It's going great, man. I mean, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here, man. We just met maybe a couple weeks ago, and now we're here. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a weird time for everybody, I guess, this whole past year. But I guess we've been blessed with some opportunities to still do what we love, So it's definitely
for sure. Like we were saying, it's and I think in our specific industry, obviously COVID and quarantine, all this stuff's kind of crazy. But for someone like yourself who can be kind of focused, be in one place, kind of get everything organized in a way, it could be more. I don't want to say I don't want to use the word blessing or whatever. It's like focus wise, I feel like that would be beneficial almost for you and your business to really focus on your shoes and doing stuff there. So tell me how that's impacted you during this COVID time.
Well, in the beginning of COVID, I'm not going to lie to you, it got really rough. I had just moved to Long Beach, and my life expenses had just tripled up, moving to where I was at now, moving on my own. And everything was good. There were so many moves set in place. And then COVID hits, and everything just kind of gets put on hold or canceled because I can't make appearances. Right. I can't do certain projects because they don't know where their funds are going to go, if they're going to go dry, etc. So I had to start digging through my savings. And it got to the point where, I guess I kind of had like an artist block because it was just like, holy shit, like, what am I going to do, Right. And I guess I got down to my last $1,000, bro. Like the last of my savings, $1,000, because I had to pay for my car, my kid. I had to pay for my living expenses, and right. And then just out of nowhere, dude, it's just like anything. If you work hard enough, and if you deserve it, right before you hit rock bottom, everything just came in, bro. Like a huge partnership with Amazon. Another one with eBay, and then another few on the side, a couple endorsements. It was crazy, just out of nowhere. And so
tell me a bit about that then. So you're an artist, you do shoes in particular, but this all kind of came once. How long have you been in this space though? So this literally came like recently where these kind of major deals and things started happening, or was this something you've been doing for a long time and had some, or it all happened sort of recently where you really blew up?
Well, I've been painting shoes for about 9 years now, and it didn't really kick off for me until 2017. That was after I had a car accident, and I was out of it for about a year. I wasn't painting shoes or anything for about a year. So in 2017, I decided to give it another go, and it was all timing. Like, I believe it when people say it's all about timing.
Right.
As soon as I jumped back in, that's when I met Karl Anthony Towns. And Karl Anthony Towns, he took a shot on me, he said, because obviously he had this huge contract with Nike, and it could be a bad move, but he was willing to take that shot on me and use his platform to help give me that boost I needed. And it dug me out of another hole, and it kind of set me on the path to where I'm at now. So after that, everything was rolling. I was doing all the superstars in the NBA. It was a snowball effect. It went crazy. Started doing huge partnerships with the actual teams in the NBA. Then I started doing these huge brand deals. But this past few months is the first time I actually got endorsement deals coming in. Mm-hmm. And the biggest, I guess the most lucrative projects that I've had in my career so far. So it's been pretty crazy.
Well, so talk to me about the space a little bit then with shoes, because again, I've got I've seen StockX, Josh Luber, I've gotten to know through a mutual friend of ours, Jason Kuntz with Otia. That's actually how I came across you, and obviously now we've gotten a few shoes from you, and I'm excited about those that are being worked on. But how does are there other I guess I don't know how to describe in the space. Are you sort of the pioneer? Are you one of the original guys that are doing these custom shoes for these celebrity high end, or has this been going on for a long time? And is there a handful of guys, or were you one of the first that got these deals with brands, with players and celebrities? Like, tell me a little bit more about the industry in this space particularly.
It's been going on for a while. I guess I want to say I jumped on at the right time. The first few years were rough. as far as gaining any respect from other artists in the game. And also the fact that, you know, I'm a minority, you know, so it's a little rougher. It's a little harder to you know, get certain jobs or be able to reach out to certain people. So it was kind of an obstacle for me as well.
Right.
I had to learn everything on my own, and I fucked up a lot of shoes, man. Like in the beginning, I was
Right.
doing a lot of, had to do a lot of damage control. People were like, "Who is this guy? He paints like shit." You know what I mean? And it used to get to me pretty bad. Now it's
Right.
kind of a thick skin situation where it's just like, you know, I'm just gonna keep doing me. And but yeah, there's several out there. There's so many that have been doing it before me, you know, and I looked up to those guys as I continued to climb to where I'm at today. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty competitive. I don't like to see it that way because I feel like artists should kind of, you know, appreciate each other's work.
Right.
But it's competitive out there to the point where, you know, they feel like, you know, I'm digging in their pockets.
Right. Well,
But
I mean, I think, I think that's true on a lot of these kind of, I don't want to say it's like unique industries, like Twitch, sort of king of the hill in the space. Like if you have the most viewers, that's where people kind of go first. Or same thing with like poker, home games or games you compete with for the best players that are going to be best for the game. You kind of, it's sort of a, yeah, it's a big enough space where everyone can kind of coexist. Excuse me, but at the same time, like you said, it is a competitive space, and there is someone is competing for someone that's going to do custom shoes. If I want to get 5 or 10 or 20 pair of shoes, usually you're going to work with one person for the most part, right? You're going to go to a guy as long as they're giving you a good deal, they're doing great work, you're going to stick with the guy. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it is competitive, and I'm kind of learning about the space more. But like StockX, for example, that's such a huge platform. Shoes are becoming so popular. How is that? Like, give me a little bit of how does that tie into your world? Do you do you buy shoes on StockX? Are you in that, like that type of space, or what is it just completely separate what you do?
I feel like it's pretty separate only because well, first off, like for the most part, customers supply the shoes, for the most part. If I'm supplying it, it's either some Jordan 1s that I could cop off the internet anywhere pretty much, or some Air Force 1s. If
Right.
it's more rare and stuff, I usually tell them to supply the shoe because the resale value is just crazy. You know what I mean? But StockX it's just been huge, for sneakers in general. It
Right.
just has been able to do for the culture. And I don't think shoes are ever going to die. You're always going to have shoes on your feet. You know what I mean? That's not going to end. I feel like during COVID has been kind of rough because, I mean, you can't really go out much and show off what you got on your feet. So I think that's kind of had an impact on the sneaker culture a little bit.
And that, tell me a bit more. Like, I'll look here right now. We got just on the top of the page here. Actually, this is the post I saw in a story that Jason Kuntz tagged. I'm actually originally from Detroit or Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I saw the Lions say, I was like, oh, these are pretty sweet. And then I think I actually DM'd you. How much of these are art? Like, what would you say the percentage of people that buy shoes and they just put them in their closet or on the wall, or they showcase them, and what percent are people wearing them around? Because it is art, right? Like, it's kind of like a funny thing. Like, you want to wear like a sick custom pair of shoes around, and maybe yes, but not on not to certain occasions or certain venues and whatnot. So how do you break that down? What do you think the ratio is there between art where people don't wear them and people that wear them out?
I mean, at this point in my career and my price points, you know what I mean? For the most part, a lot of people don't understand why I charge what I charge, even though they're seeing it and there's a reason they hit me up in the first place. They still kind of like trip out, like, what the fuck, like $1,200, $1,300, like it doesn't make sense, But I work just as hard as anybody else in their respective crafts or whatever to get where I'm at, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. It is an art piece. I mean, if you're going to pay for one of the top artists in their craft to paint you a canvas or something, you're going to pay a couple G's. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. A lot of the people do put them inside their in a glass case at home. For instance, Robert Downey Jr. has a pair at his house that I made. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, people like that. And I think those are the ones that they have in glass cases. But there's some people that will wear them and put them away as well. So it really just varies on the person. If it's
Right.
somebody that just wants to wear them all the time, they're probably not gonna want to pay what I'm charging. You know what I mean? To
Right.
put on a
Well,
pair.
I would imagine you got some people that want 2 pairs, sort of like cards, which is the next thing I definitely want to cover with you. And I've gotten, pretty, we were just talking, like, pretty obsessed with the, sports card stuff, like, which I've gotten into. I know you're in. Yeah, we could. Yeah, look, we're ready. We're strapped. We're ready to rock some cards. We go card for card. But like, so I would imagine, because that's how I am when I get cards now. A lot of times I get 2. I'll be like, yeah, give me a 2, or give me a 10 and a 9, or give me, different. Because, like, eventually I'd like to release some and see the profit and do the investment part, but I also love it. So I want to have it. So I would think certain level of shoes, people like say, give me 2. I want 1 to wear and 1 I'm just going to tuck away.
I have that like that for sure. I have.
Yeah. That. Well, tell me, I want to make this primarily about shoes. I'm fascinated with the industry and the space and what you're doing, but tell me, while we're touching on cards, what is going on with the sports cards and with you, and what's your interest level on that? I see, you do have this brand new page here, Kicks and Rips. Explain a little bit what that is and what your interest in cards is.
Man, I think I had told you about it a little bit before we started this, and it's I used to collect cards when I was little, and that's when I was putting like all my allowance to the side just to buy these packs, and I didn't see it as something that was lucrative. It was just something that was fun to me when I was little. I wasn't trying to make money off the cards, and but then like I told you, somebody had stole all my cards, and then I kind of was like, I spent all my allowance on this shit, and now it's gone. So do I keep going? No. And now that we're at a different point in our lives where, we're making money, we have capital to do certain things. It's a new phenomenon again. It's back. It's back harder than ever. And it's not just sports cards, it's Pokemon cards, it's everything. And some of my guys are in there. So it's crazy, because once you actually do the research and you see how much money you can make off these cards, it's the main reason why I've been trying to give back so much to the community and kind of like point them in the right direction, as far as even the kids. Like, this is a hobby. It could get pretty pricey at times, but if you do it right, you can make a lot of money off of it, So that's kind of where I'm.
Tell me about so is this channel that you have specifically here, is this the Kicks and Rips, is this like you breaking packs specifically, or is this just sports cards in general? Because like I got my first ever kind of cases and stuff, and like here, for example, it says 15 cards per pack, 12 packs per box, and this is like, so give someone like an example like this. How does economics work if you break a box?
As far as
how does it work out, or what are you trying to do on that?
So for me, I've been known to give back to my people in as many ways as possible. My collection is pretty damn extensive, as far as, my girl's in here. My collection is pretty insane, bro. My collection is, my girl gets mad because I have so many cards. But once she sees those dollars start rolling in, it'll change her perspective. Yeah. So what I've been able to do is I have over like 800 cards in PSA right now because of I don't know if you're familiar with different PSA sub people and stuff, but Mark's Cards is my guy. He comes weekly to pick up cards to take to PSA. Yep. So my collection is so big that I do mini games on my page where you pay a certain amount and you're guaranteed something, but there's chances for you to win more. So I give out some of the hot stuff in my collection that I don't have in PSA to help build people's collections. Right. So I do that on my live. I actually do it on my Kickstradomis page where I have all my followers, but I'm going to start trickling them this way. Yeah, man, it's just a way to give back. And, I still make some money off of the cards that I have because I have so many. But it's also allowing other people to make that big money, and send these PSA and stuff.
I love it. It's the exact same, because it is. I collected when I was a kid. I stopped for a long time. I actually met Jason through a mutual friend, and when I was back in Michigan, because my parents are from Ann Arbor, and another friend was like, "You got to come meet this guy." I took over all my collection as a kid. He was like, "Oh, these are worth about $1 a card." I was like, "Oh, like 100 a card," because I had all my best stuff, the Kobe and the MJ. And he's like, "No, like $1 a card." And I was like, "Wait, what? Really? That's all it's worth?" And he's like, "Yeah." But then he showed me his stuff, and I got into it and started putting some money. I mean, you've seen the returns in the last 2 years. It's 10, 20, 30x. Like Hakeem Olajuwon 10. His rookie,
that LeBron card sold for 3.8, right?
What's that?
Or the LeBron rookie card sold for 1.8 or 1.3 or something, but that Mike Trout sold for 3.8 million.
Yeah, I think it might even hit 4 or something. But it's crazy. Like, it's just, you know, the Honus Wagner, it's like 15 million now. I think the guy, the Arizona Diamondbacks owner, that's the biggest card in the industry, and he won't sell it for 15 million. He got it for like 3 million or whatever. And it's just like, I mean, it's one of those things. Money's coming in, it's supply and demand. There's funds opening up. You saw the store we mentioned, Steve Aoki, Dan Fleshman, these guys, they have one in LA. It's about an hour from you, the Coffee Breakers, and they're doing breaking. You see it, like, I can feel it energetically. A lot of influencers, a lot of people, a lot of athletes, rappers, other people are getting in, and they're starting to get into the thing. It's just like shoes, right? Supply and demand. You got guys that you get some of the biggest names and athletes, celebrities want you to do shoes. At some point, you know, it's like art, same thing, supply and demand. You get an artist who's hot, you know, the guy's you can charge what your time is, charge what it's going, and it's an industry. So super interesting. And I think there's a lot of similarity with the sports, with the shoes, art. It's kind of all ties together.
A lot of the shoe guys are dipping into cards now.
Exactly.
You know, return of investment in the right way is crazy. You know, I know kids that are sitting on $1 million worth of cards. You know what I'm saying? They're set. You know, once they decide to just let it all go, or they continue to sit.
Yeah, shout out to your girlfriend or your Chelsea. Is that she's in the chat? Because she, like you said, it's so similar to my wife. She's like, "What do you mean you spent that on a card?" I'm like, "Well, this card last year was worth this, and now it's 4.5x or whatever." And then until they actually see, once you make a few transactions or flip a few, and then they see it's real, because it does look. It's like, listen, I play poker for a living, so sports cards is right up in that kind of. Yeah, what are you working with there? Is that the Brady one?
It's like a down payment on a house, bro. This is
what I'm talking about. I already know that's a big time card.
1 out of 5 gold vinyl prism Tom Brady last year on the Patriots, and it's a PSA 10. All right, there's only 2 in the world that are PSA 10. This is one of them. Okay,
and pretty sorry. That's speaking to my heart. Brady, Michigan, man. I'm big.
Now my Brady, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson are my main PCs. And this is a gold Kyler Murray, a PSA 10, another one. And this one is number 3 to 10, you know, stuff like that. And then I got this one from my boy Daddy Rips, who's one of my favorite breakers. I got this, you know, Kyler
Murray. Give us an idea of some range in those cards. Like and how does a 10 differ from a 9 in that, for example? Just
it's really crazy because a lot of people frown on 9s, but they don't understand that a 9 is still a big profit from a raw card. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if let's say you get a raw card, and the raw card itself is probably if it's a really good card and it's raw at about 500, and if you get it at a PSA 10, depending on who it is, it could be like 5,000, you know, something like that. But if it's a PSA 9, you're still looking at about 2,000 compared to 5,000. But that's still a huge profit from pulling it out of the pack. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
a big sweat on what they come back with.
At a 9.5. Okay, the only one that I've seen on eBay is at 9.5, and it's up there for $9,000.
Right.
This is a PSA 10. So, you know, it might be about in the 18,000, you know, to 20 range right now.
And is that one you purchased specifically, or did you get that from a pack and you get graded, or did you buy that at a?
I did a break on Instagram Live on somebody's channel, and they pulled this up. You know what I mean? So it's like I say, you know, scared money don't make money, and this is kind of like just, you know, I think it was like $100 for the break, and I came up on this. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that, you know. And
ROI. I mean, just to give an idea, like the Jordan 9s, I think last year I got one for $5,500, and they're worth $20K today. Like the 10s were $30K last year. A Jordan 10 rookie, the signature rookie card, is worth it's about $100K, and that was $30K last year. So to give you an idea, the industry and the cards, and they really are, you know, obviously the Last Dance kind of brought stuff up, but you know, stuff went up and dropped a little bit, and now it's sort of I just still think it's a really good time for people to get involved. And it's one of those things, if you hustle, if you kind of grind it, you get it, you open packs, you do the PSA grading, you know the right people, you know the right stuff, and you put your time into it, you can definitely find a way to make some money. You know, a lot of the guys that in cards that have done very well, they started literally with nothing, or they go to trade shows, kind of trade their way up and make cards. So for sure, it's interesting.
You start small, you know, you start like they say, you buy low, you sell high, right? So, I mean, if there's a player that you've seen has kind of like that spark that might be good in a few years, then you stock up on his raw cards on eBay. You know, a perfect example, Tatis Jr. in baseball. I saw somebody selling a lot of about 6 of his rookie cards just raw, right? So you're not guaranteed PSA 10s off these cards.
Of course.
But it was like $120 for those 6 Tatis Jr. Rookie cards.
Mm-hmm.
I bought them, sent them to PSA. They all came back PSA 10s, bro. Like that was like, that's just, you know, that's just the gamble that you take. But I mean, it's not like I was going to lose, period. It's Tatis Jr.'s rookie card. So even if I got PSA 9s, I would have been.
You'd be happy. No, and that's the thing. It's a market. There's people always looking to sell. There's people looking to buy, and there's a lot of opportunity. What would you say now? You're known as Kickstradomis. I want to know where you came up with that. Very creative. I like it. I want to know about that. But now versus cards, what are you more passionate about? Are you still shoes as your main thing, and this is a side, or are you kind of starting to shift a bit where you're getting more into sports?
I feel like I'm very passionate about both. You know what I mean? Because art is what got me here. But now it's at the point where I could kind of merge both together. That's why I named it Kicks and Rips, because not only in my mini games do I allow people chances to win these cards and stuff, but they also get opportunities to win a pair of custom kicks that they might not be able to afford. So there's a few people that have won custom kicks through my mini games and stuff, and it's great to see the reactions. You know, I actually go live with the people and stuff like that. So it's really awesome to be able to, you know, see the reactions from my fans and people that, you know, really love my artwork. And that's why they're following me today, even in the card, you know, the card culture.
Very cool. And how do you think in terms of, do you feel that, you know, I want to understand about the process with doing the shoes and what goes into it exactly. Cause I kind of scrolling through different content, looked at some of the videos and some of the, I guess, is that your studio you're in your background? Is that where you literally make them? Is that the shoe?
Here I'm at my crib, but yeah, I have a whole studio section at my house and stuff.
So tell me a little about who is involved in your team. You obviously have a successful social media campaign. You know, you got on Instagram, people DMing you all the time. I'm sure. I mean, that's how we connected. You've got a queue, you know, people making orders. How do you sort of manage? Do you have a manager? Do you have an agent? Do you deal with your own deals? Tell me a little about your process and your team.
Well, it all started with I was doing shoes for Josh Hart when he was on the Lakers, and I ended up meeting his brother Matt, and we became really cool. He was already following me for a while, and Matt was an intern at CAA, so I didn't have a manager at the time. I wasn't making the big money at the time either. But I knew it was a point where me and Kat were really starting to pick up steam in the NBA, and it was getting out of hand as far as emails and stuff like that. So Matt was like, yo, if you ever have any questions or need some help, just let me know, and I'll see how I can help you. So one day, May come over, man, let's talk. And we literally took a chance on each other. You know, he never had managed anybody before, and I never had a manager. We didn't know how it was going to go, but I'll tell you what, man, that first month that we were together, we made about 25 grand, and I had the job I had before. I wasn't even going to make that in a year. So that kind of just gives you an idea of, you know, how it all just worked out. And now it's not just Matt. Matt has his own creative agency, and it's Matt, my boy Sean, and Dev. It's like a whole management team just hustling for me and making these major moves, and we're just all eating together, you know. So yeah, that's definitely.
And how is the growth? Like, is it something that's been pretty steady, or did a couple things shoot up? I mean, I see some of the names you work with, some of the NBA players and some of the biggest stars in the game, I believe, like James Harden and some of the other guys you've done work for. Is it something where, is it like overnight you were just kind of grinding, everything's like moving a little bit and then stuff really jumped up, or has it just been steady the whole way, or was there some real big, you know, massive jumps?
Man, it was just like I told you, like I wasn't painting shoes anymore, and then I decided to. I had my Instagram on private, and I had logged out for a whole year, and I lost about 40,000 followers in that span. I've actually lost a good amount of followers in the recent months, but I think it's because some of them are not real supporters anyway. So once they started seeing me doing shoes and cards, they were like, fuck all that. You know what I mean? So it was like, it's fine. I don't need you guys anyway. You know what I mean? I just need the loyal people. Like I could care less about how many followers I have. It's the brands that really want to mess with me, and the fans that really support, you know, who I am as a person. I'm not just a guy that paints shoes. Like I have a life as well. So, but yeah, you know, I unblocked. I made my page public, it accepted everybody that was trying to follow me within that year, and Cat was one of them, and it really stood out to me because I'm a huge NBA guy. So I shot my shot him a DM. I was like, yo, Cat, I see you're following me. It means a lot to me. And I just kept it genuine and real. Like, yo, I'm in a shithole in my life. I'm sleeping on a futon right now. You know, I'm not making much money. I hate my job. I want to get back to what I do. Can you give me an opportunity? And he responds within 5 minutes, which is crazy, right? And he was like, yo, I can't believe you're hitting me up. Like, I'm here in LA for the summer. Come by this week and we'll chop it up. And this is, at this point in my life, I had never met like a star athlete or anything, you know? Right. So it was kind of like, wow, you know, the whole timing of everything.
Yeah.
I went to his crib where he was staying at, and we were talking for about 5 hours. And I guess he was just trying to feel me out, you know? Some people are in it for the wrong reasons, and some people are just, you know, trying to use people's platforms and stuff. So he realized I was genuine, and he gave me that opportunity. And yeah, man, it just took off. Like to the point where he was just wearing, like he said, I'm going to send you a bunch of shoes. No rush. Whenever you get them done, send them to me and I'll wear them. And that week when I got the shoes, I did like 6 pairs, bro. I sent them all out. Size 20 shoes. I think I have a pair back here. They're huge. And it was just, he wore the first one at their he wore the first pair at the alumni game for his university where he was playing with Cousins and Anthony Davis and all these guys, right? And then Cousins ends up texting me like a week later, like, yo, man, I need some shoes. And then it was just like a snowball effect. You know what I mean? To where I was doing Trez, and then Trez plugged me into Donovan Mitchell, and then Donovan Mitchell to Ricky Rubio and Gobert and all these other guys. And it just exploded, bro. It was crazy.
That's awesome. And do you have like give me an idea of a typical queue? Like you'll have orders and pairs and people come in, like, do you shut stuff down? Like what's like, if someone right now, they go on there, let's just say someone in this podcast sees it, stuff like, man, this is awesome. I want to do a custom pair. Obviously you work with celebrities, athletes, you know,
there's different runs. I mean, typically it's about 3 to 5 months. You know what I mean? Because of the demand, and I have to kind of spread it out. And for the most part, people with money, they don't mind waiting, you know, as long as it's done correctly. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to pay that much money, you want it done right. Right. And like I tell other people, it's like, you don't want to rush art. You know, if you rush the art, it's not going to be my top notch quality. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be able to give you a product that looks like it came out the factory. And that's kind of been my mission. And I know I've gotten better through the years to this point because I take even a little bit extra time. You know what I mean? People used to nitpick at the smallest things, especially artists that do what I do. Especially the lower artists, they would nitpick like, oh, look at that. He didn't tape that right and stuff like that. And just talk mad shit. So now I'm at the point where it's like, I make sure, you know, and it can get tough at times because a lot of people don't know this, but I'm partially colorblind. So it makes it a little bit harder. I'm an artist. Being partially colorblind is kind of weird. So yeah, sometimes I have my girl like look over the shoes and make sure everything's good to go, you know?
Wow. That's and so that was something where you were born with this, or did it develop over the years, or and when you say colorblind, it's so I don't
say black and white, but there's colors that I can't differentiate sometimes, you know, like certain tones. Okay. And stuff like that. So like the blues and purples, sometimes I can't differentiate. Browns and greens, yellows, oranges, sometimes reds, depending on the tones and stuff. I can't really. Yeah, it's a clusterfuck, man. So I gotta. Yeah.
But that makes that must make things a little more challenging. But I guess you've got a system and worked it out. And is there give me an idea too on shoes how tricky it is, like if you mess something up, like if let's say on average, is it like you do one shot on the shoes, or sometimes you like do a shoe and it's like something happens, you can't really fix it and you got to redo it, or is it pretty clean, straightforward? If you mess up, you could paint over it or wipe it off, or is it not always just straight?
I don't want to say I'm perfect or anything, you know what I mean? Because nobody's perfect, and but I feel like I've been getting closer to perfecting my craft to the point where I haven't had. I mean, there are situations where it's like, fuck, I don't like that. Let me go back in. You know, but as an artist, you're always able to fix your fuck ups. You know what I mean? Or even other people won't notice it, but you notice it. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that. but for the most part, I've been able to knock them out in one shot. Yeah.
That's awesome. Give me one of your favorite pieces. Like just maybe it was because it was the first biggest or emotional for you, or just one that like was so sick that turned out and just because of little details.
It's on my Instagram, but I don't know how far down, but it's the first pair that really, really, you could probably even go to Google and just type it in and it'll come out. Okay. But first pair I did for Cat that blew up, and they started like actually talking and saying my name on SportsCenter and ESPN and all that stuff. And it was a Jason pair.
Is this yours as well?
Yeah. So on that one right there, for ESPN and SportsCenter, I did those shoes for Zion, and they surprised him. And he was like a kid in the candy store right there. So it was pretty badass, you know? And yeah, it was his first pair of Jordans because he had just signed to Jordan Brand. So it was a New Orleans themed Jordan 1, and it had like him doing his flex on the back and stuff like that. So he was really pumped. But yeah, if you keep going down, you'll see him. It was a pair of Jason Hyper Dunks that he wore on Halloween that went extremely viral. And that was the first shoe that I got an order for. That also that Iron Man in the middle up there, that was for Robert Downey Jr. right there. Yeah, those guys right there. Yeah. So
that's pretty sick. That thing pops. It is fun, man. It is absolutely like I gotta say, you know, the things like same thing with cards. It's one of those things that are like it's personal, and shoes are important. It's one of the accessories, like I said, you wear every day. You can wear multiple times now, like a t-shirt or something you don't want to be wearing every day. Like, you know, you could wear. I'm sure the serious sneakerheads, people that wear it, they want to have a different pair every day of the week or month. But you know, shoes something you can, you put on, and it's not a problem to wear more than once, and also serves as art.
You know what I mean? Like if you have something that nobody else has, and it's like it's definitely a flex. And that pair was one of my favorites as well. The one with Luka's wearing it up top. If you go, you just on it too. But right here, you see that Luka one right there? Mm-hmm. So that pair, he had requested maybe 2 weeks prior, and he said, I want to do a tribute pair for Dirk Nowitzki on his last home game. And he wore those on his last home game in Dallas. Dirk signed them, and he kept them. There was people trying to pay tons of money for that pair, and he did not want to let it go. So he has that in a glass case at home.
That's sick. That's very cool. Yeah, no, it is cool, man. I gotta say, it makes a ton of sense, and it's just a perfect mix with artwork and shoes. It's like it makes so much sense. Same thing with sports cards. Like it's similar to art, the value and kind of piece. And you know, I've heard Gary Vee, he talks about a lot now, saying I'd rather talk about my Hakeem Olajuwon than a Rembrandt. Like people now kind of, it's like sports are so popular. There's daily fantasy, sports betting's legal now in the US at a federal level. It's just kind of all just sort of ties in, you know. I just feel like it's all intertwined, and it makes a ton of sense. Man, yeah, it's very, very cool. So yeah, it's crazy, some of the ones that seeing some of the work that you've done over the years. It's got to be, do you ever, what about you though? When you make someone for some of these one-on-one stuff, will you now sort of make some also and keep it for yourself? Or is that the deal if someone like
that's a request that I'm doing, because a lot of people don't know that when I first started doing these shoes in the NBA, I was doing a lot of these for the big games. I was doing them for free. I was doing a lot of free work. And some people are like, you're doing it for free. Well, yeah, that's what blew up my market. And it's different. Like for somebody that's trying to make a quick buck, yeah, charge them a couple $100, do their shoe. You know what I mean? They're going to wear it, but they might not have that loyalty and that friendship and that bond with you, you know, as far other than you hooking them up. So I have a lot of loyalty through the league, and I make money on the back end. You know what I mean? Why make money off one pair when you can make more money off a few pairs after they see that one pair on the court? You know, that's like my billboard right there.
This is your guy right here. This is who was your first one? Your first.
That's my guy.
That's sort of that was for sure like a pivotal moment for you. That's him. He was sort of the breakthrough.
The thing is that nobody was really doing custom work, maybe here and there, but nobody was doing custom work for NBA. And I kind of broke that open. You know what I mean? People did like one or two here, but I kind of I went all in the NBA. And there was like every other night, somebody was wearing some custom sneakers, you know what I mean, on the court. And it was always like, yo, Kickstradomis did these, Kickstradomis did these, Kickstradomis did these. Sometimes in a night, it would be like 5 pairs are on TV in different games. You know what I mean? So it was pretty nuts. especially on the holidays and stuff like that. So
Isn't it kind of crazy looking at this? I got one of a card that I get like the old stuff as well. Like I got this one not long ago, this Pistol Pete, Maravich, like the old school, the tall boy cards, this type of stuff. But is it kind of crazy like looking at it now? Like imagine the NBA, they're wearing the Daisy Dukes, the short trunks. Like imagine guys wearing like these shoes back in like the 80s or 90s. Like who was the player though? The first kind of guy in sports where they had some custom kicks where it got like kind of, because it seems like it's relatively new. I mean, I don't know like what year, is there someone that's sort of like the first one who ever wore a custom crazy pair in NFL or NBA? Because now you see it like a lot.
There was other guys that were doing shoes. Like there was a guy that was doing shoes for OBJ in the past, and that kind of opened the doors for a lot of people in NFL. But one of the guys that I used to look up to when I was younger was Mosh, and Mosh had done a pair for like LeBron. He didn't wear them in the game, but he wore them I think during shoot around and stuff like that. So that was kind of huge. But those guys were kind of like the trailblazers, that they've been doing it for about 15, 20 years or something like that. And I jumped in. I'm barely about to hit 10 years. That's kind of one of the things why I didn't get much respect getting into the game, and as far as I did is because I was blowing up too fast. You know what I mean? And I mean, as an artist, I understand when some artists are like, his work looked like shit, blah, 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 they don't like it. I mean, like I said, it's competitive to them, but I just know I worked my ass off to get where I'm at. I worked extremely hard to get here. So.
Yeah, that's let's see. We got this one right here. We got this. If anyone, we got giving away $109 ticket today. So if you guys want to ask a question, you're in the chat here, YouTube Live. Again, this will go out on Spotify, iTunes, all the major outlets. But we do, awesome to do a live. I appreciate that. And if you guys want to ask a question, we'll try to get to as many as we can, and we'll also be picking this $109 giveaway at the end of the show. So get your questions in there if you can. Who or what do you think, I should say, what do you think would be the reason that, shoes could even, that would take you to a new level? Like, are you at a point where you're so busy, you've kind of got what you want in terms of business and traffic and backup? Is there anything that you think could sort of elevate or take your stuff even to a new level? Or are you just kind of like, are you not really sure where to go anymore in shoes, and now you're looking at cards?
At this point, I'll let you guys know right now, everybody that's tuned in, I haven't even reached the peak yet. There's a lot of things behind the scenes right now that are gonna be insanely huge. Man, so that Amazon project was probably the biggest of my career, and it just opened the door to even bigger opportunities, I would say. So yeah, man, I think right now still the sky's the limit. There's a lot going down the pipeline, not just with Amazon, but there's a couple other big companies and stuff. And that's also kudos to my management team, who's always bringing in some epic stuff. Amazon reached out to us and they were like, with Complex, we want to do. Have you seen the show The Boys?
No. Okay,
so The Boys is like it's a really epic show on Amazon. It's like their show, you know what I mean? You know how I guess AMC's was The Walking Dead, and every network or every streaming platform has their show, their big show, and The Boys like just took off. It's an amazing series. It was actually my favorite show before they even approached me on the project. So that was why I really went crazy, because I was very passionate about the show in the first place. And it's a more fresh, realistic take on superheroes. So it shows what the world would really be like. Because when you're watching Superman and Batman and shit like that, it's like everybody just like loves these superheroes and they're like angels, you know what I mean? But in this show, The Boys, it shows the other side of like how superheroes can take advantage of their powers, and they're actually ran by the government and stuff like that. So it's a really cool show. It's very gory, it's very violent, but it's a real take on superheroes. So it's really dope.
That's very, very cool. And how did speaking of superheroes, the Robert Downey Jr., those custom kicks, where did that come from? Who generally, how does it work? Do you reach out to people? Do they always reach out to you? Is it friend to friends? Like, what's like the sort of general balance?
That one was kind of like they alley-ooped it to me. You know what I mean? They were like, "Yo, let's do something." It was kind of like an alley-oop, like, "Yo, I'm gonna link you with Robert Downey Jr. Let's do some epic Iron Man shoes." So I came up with the best concepts I can, and he loved them so much that he shared it on his Instagram, and that was like a huge moment for my career. I think I gained like 40,000 followers within overnight, and this was right after like the last Avengers. You know what I mean? Like right after when the hype was crazy. So yeah, it was definitely epic.
That's pretty amazing. What is do you think that people have I mean, people have vices, people have problems and gambling and other areas of life, alcoholism, stuff like, are there anyone, do you feel like people in cards or shoes, have you seen with like an addiction or a problem where like you, based on where they've like done something, they're like, oh man, I can't afford, like, because I mean your stuff's high end stuff, right? And like people want it sort of like I could see it becoming addictive where people like really want to, let's just take the shoes for example, have you had any kind of incidents with that, or do you think that some people may have a shoe addiction? I've seen some crazy closets. Like you shouldn't be in a $400 a month apartment and have 800 pair of kicks or something like that. Is there anyone that's just kind of like out there that needs help?
As far as shoes go, I mean, I've seen some crazy addictions, but for the most part, those people can actually like, be able to maintain that and be all right. I think I see it more in the cards. You know what I mean? Because like you said, it's a gamble, right? So I've been able to do it strategically to where like, the money that I'm using is just from what I'm making from my cards, from my card business instead of just dipping into my actual, personal. But I've seen instances where there's people that spend about $10,000 in a night on an Instagram live. And I mean, I don't know their situations and stuff, but maybe they're doing it the same way I am. You know what I mean? Strategically, maybe they're making their money on the back end, selling slabs, because like I said, cards that are worth thousands of dollars. So, I mean, yeah, if I sell a card for, 10 racks, I wouldn't mind spending one rack, like reinvesting it and trying to hit some more of that shit. You know what I mean? Right. But yeah, when I see somebody spending like 10 to 20K in a night.
Yeah, and at some point you can't control, just like, I promote poker, but I always tell people, look, my joke, I say it's not a hobby. For me, it's my profession, my craft, but you got to be careful, right? Like anyone can, if addictive personalities, they get their hands on something, you can't police it all. It's not a perfect science. And you gotta,
look, people that go to the casino, man. The people at the I've seen people at the casinos like playing two machines and just like tapping the shit. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's part of the problem for sure. Casinos in general, right? Those are some of the most common ones: alcoholism, gambling. These type of things are it's easy to go down a rabbit hole, and if you don't have self-control and have a plan, you can get in trouble. But yeah, no, I think it's sports cards. I would say it's a little more likely than shoes. What's the most pairs someone's ever ordered from you? Shoes in a go.
Man, if it was a person, I'd probably say about $3,000. But if it was a company, I mean, that's where the huge money's at, is the brand partnerships and stuff.
Did you say $3,000 or $30,000?
$3,000. $3,000 for one pair, yeah. But
for one pair. I'm saying like how many pairs of shoes? I was gonna say I spent more than that with you in a shot. Come on now, don't tell me.
What's the most in one project?
Yeah, someone's like, I want 30 pairs of shoes, or 20 or 10, or like.
I've had like some 40, 50 pair projects. I think one of them was for YouTube and the NBA Finals a couple years back, where they gave some to the staff over at YouTube, because it was the first year that they had the NBA Finals on YouTube TV.
Very cool.
Stuff like that. But now it's getting really crazy to where I'm getting very nice amounts of money for like 5-7 pair runs for huge partnership projects and stuff. So that's kind of where it's headed right now. And hopefully, I end up getting that collaboration with a big company where I have my own design sneaker, out in retail and stuff. So that's
awesome. And do you do all of it on your own? You said you have some help maybe with the colors, because sometimes the colors, someone will point out some, but are you actually the one doing physically the entire shoes, or do you have anyone that helps like any part of the process? Or are you literally?
As of right now, so I'm juggling cards, I'm juggling shoes, I'm juggling my personal life, my girlfriend, my son. Like, it's crazy, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard sometimes to find a balance, but I've been able to make it happen,
I love it. How old's your son?
He's 9 years old, man.
9. Wow. Time. That's crazy. And you've lived in California. You said you moved to Long Beach not too long ago, but where did you originally, you were in Los Angeles and moved to Long Beach, or where did you rise and get into art? And tell me about like the early on Kickstradomis. You got to tell me about the name, how you came up with it, but I want to know about the early rise through your path.
When I was a baby, I was born in Mexico. So I came as a baby to the United States. I got my citizenship at about 11 years old. Still never been to Mexico ever since, although I would like to sometime. But I was an artist since I was little, man. Since I was like 4 years old, I was like making my own comic books, just drawing. And that's kind of like how I passed my time, was just drawing and doing stuff like that. So I've always been an artist. Growing up, I learned graphic design on my own, stuff like that, web design. Everything was self-taught. And Kickstradomis, I just was at a point where I wanted to rebrand myself, and I was just thinking of a cool, catchy name. There was like really nothing more behind it, but this sounds dope. Let me run with it. And it just worked out, man. It was just a really dope name, you know? A play on words, I guess you'd say. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, no, I love the play on words there. All right. So now what's your day-to-day? Give me your day-to-day, like a process. What time are you an early morning riser? Do you go to bed late? Are you like in the zone when you're doing your stuff? Are you listening to music and rocking out, watching TV, or is it just like zoned out, just in the zone? Give me a
I went to this lazy patch for a while, and then my girl like snapped me the hell out of it. She was like, "Yo, man, I can't be with somebody that's lazy." You know what I mean? So she's kind of the one that sparked it back out of me, to where right after she did that and I started getting on my grind, that's when everything fell into place. That's when the endorsement deals came in. That's when the big projects came in. It was just like, you know, she kind of, shout out to Christian, shout out to my kid. She kind of like, brought it back out of me, that monster, you know? And now usually I'll sleep over at her place. She lives right down the street. So she wakes up like 5:30 or 5 in the morning, and I wake up the same time because I park in front of her, and then I got to go home. So I'll start my day at about 5:30, 6 in the morning, you know, and if it means either I'm working on shoes or I'm working on something for my website, if I'm working on cards, if I'm working on shipments, everything is just, it goes through the day to the point where I'm finished by about 4 or 5 when she's getting out of work, and then we'll just chill the rest of the day. So I try to get everything done. I mean, I start pretty early anyway, so I'm able to get a lot done during the day. Yeah.
Very nice. And what is your sort of family, your parents, and what do they think about all this? Did they, you know, you were in art, you were doing this stuff. What was sort of their take on it? Did you go to school? Did you just do this from, you know, for only, or what was sort of, how did that go? And how do they feel about the whole process? That feels like poker. Most of the poker players that I know and talk to is kind of tough, where it's like, you know, no, it's not your traditional, you know, I go to school, or some people don't go to any school. Some people do this. Like, how did that work?
It's funny because I hated school, right? Going to high school, it just wasn't for me. I had a horrible GPA. I just hated school. I was probably one of those guys that everybody was like, "Yo, he's the most likely to fail in life." You know, that was me. Yeah. And it's not that I'm dumb. I'm actually very smart, and I'm very knowledgeable about a lot of things. And I just didn't like school. I don't like writing papers, none of that.
Right.
I tried community college, just couldn't do it. But I was always an artist, and I felt like something had. I tried everything. I had a clothing line at one point that was pretty successful, but only to the point where I could fund it. I didn't have a lot of money, so I mean, it requires a ton of money to do something like that. I've tried everything, and I did graphic design for a while, you know, and then by accident, I was living on my cousin's couch, and by accident, my cousin was like, "Hey, I know you do art, so you think you could fix my shoes?" And I did research, and that's kind of how I fell into it. You know what I mean? I started doing it, and people started liking it, so more orders started coming in. And then I did more research and saw people were drawing on Vans, and I was like, "Yo, I could do that shit." So I started doing it, and that's just kind of how it started, you know?
It's funny because I believe this, and I think one of the things I enjoy most about doing podcasts and talking to people that I would say are at the top of their craft or at the top echelon in their craft is like, whether it's shoes, you know, you're an artist, you're playing poker, you're doing sports cards, you're you know, doing business, you're a lawyer, whatever it is that you do. I think the people that are the most successful and have they're the ones that they don't do it because you know, like someone watching a podcast, like, oh, I want to get into sports cards because I want to make money, or I want to get into doing shoes to make money. It's like, if you really love it and you're motivated and driven, I just find like those are the people that find a way to just make it work, right? Because it's like, you got to want to do it. Like to go and start streaming on Twitch, to go and start doing the shoe stuff. It's not, it can be in one moment. Like you said, you could work for 5 years, 10 years, grind, do what you love, you know, be a good person, do positive things. And all of a sudden you catch one break, or you hit one tournament, you get one card, and it could just be that thing, but it doesn't happen overnight. And I think almost like it's so rare. You know, you got the people that are the best at what they do. They really love it and they're passionate, and they don't worry about, oh, I'm going to make this much money. Cause you probably never imagined in a million years you'd be making, you'd be where this is.
Yeah. I was doing it for about 8 years or 7 years before I finally got my break. You know, I was still living at my aunt's house, sleeping on a futon. But I was happy because I was able to make money on doing what I loved, and still, I wasn't living like what I'm living now, but I was still happy doing what I love, being able to take care of my stuff and my bills and stuff.
Right.
And then, you know, everything just fell into place. But before that, like, obviously, like anything, it was very funny. Even today, it's very funny well, I mean, I don't go out much anymore because of COVID and stuff, but when people would ask, like, what do you do for a living? Or when my aunts would be like, what are you going to do, you know, with your life? Like, I'm like, I'm painting shoes. And I understood it. Like, it kind of sounds dumb. Like, you know what I mean? What do you mean you're painting shoes? Like, how are you going to make a living off of this? How are you going to make a career out of it? Even when I would tell people, like, you know, oh, I'm an artist. Oh, what kind of artist? I paint shoes. They probably would laugh inside, you know, like, what the fuck? But to see where I am now, you know, it's pretty crazy.
And tell me about Twitch a little, because I see you do have a channel. I don't think you've streamed much on there. Have you done stuff like how many streams have you done? Do you plan to do more? What was your tie with Twitch?
My girl gets mad at me all the time when we talk about stuff like this, because she's like, you know, you have this platform and all this stuff. You should be putting your stuff on YouTube. There's money. You should do it on Twitch. I get it, and I really should, but people don't understand how much extra time goes into that shit. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
The amount of time that goes, because anybody could just edit a video, but the way that I edit my videos, it takes me hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It takes me hours to edit a video. Then she's like, you're doing the card stuff, you could put it on YouTube. Yeah, but when I'm streaming live on Instagram, it's different, like, as opposed to just doing a video to put on YouTube. So that's kind of like the next thing. I feel like that's where I'm going to have a team that, you know, fully, like, I guess, focuses on editing my videos and putting that out, because yeah, there's a lot of money that's there, you know. And I play video games. I haven't played very much recently because I've been so busy, but I would stream gaming. I think on Friday I'm doing this cool, like, charity stream where we're playing that what is that, the Fall Guy or something, that game? Well, anyways, we're doing that. I also stream when I paint shoes live. I do that, and I want to start streaming the card stuff. So it's like there's many different, like, angles I can hit on that Twitch, which can be very fun. It's just
for sure. It is fun. But to your point, it's a grind. Like, it's also the work that goes into it. You don't just like click live. You gotta have moderators. You gotta take the footage. You gotta do, you know, some giveaways. There's work that goes into streaming. It's not just like, you gotta get the equipment. You gotta make sure the internet's right. You gotta have the right camera, the right mic, all these different things that kind of goes into streaming on Twitch and doing YouTube videos as well. It's not just like, you know, click on, go live. It is a process. And so I think that's,
yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that wants to have a sick backdrop like you. So I got to design that shit. I got to have a different backdrop for every different kind of video I'm doing. I got to have the little graphics and stuff. Like, I got to have all that, or I'm not going to do it. You know, that's just who I am. Right. So definitely.
I completely get it. All right. I want to ask you, before, we got a lot of questions, so I want to make sure we do hit the Twitter go through some of those. I want to understand a little more, because this is something I'm super interested in on the sports trading card stuff. So give me an idea of the economics or what you were looking to do. Let's just take, again, this is my first ever I got a lot of sports cards, but I've never gotten into the boxes. A buddy of mine was like, let's split a 20-pack, a case. I think we got 20 of these. I took 10 of them. He took 10. I haven't cracked them. So, you know, I think this was about, they're like $4.25 a box is what I got this for. So, and there's 12 packs. in this. So like, was this something you would do, is take a box like this, you would go on Instagram, someone would buy it, or they would do a live break and like have you do it? Like how does it actually work? What are you doing when you break a case or box or whatever? How does that actually work?
I'm doing it like nobody's doing it, bro. Like what
okay.
I do
I
is
don't want
like,
to steal your style, but give me a couple, give me some pointers.
so mine is like the Kicks and Rips Fun House. So people go on my live, when I go live on Instagram, I have different mini games. You know what I mean? Like I won't put this slab up, but I'll put a good slab up. And if the slab is worth, let's say $1,000, I'll be like, yo, to play a mini game, $600, right? And if you lose, you're still gonna leave with something that's worth your money. But if you win, you're taking this guy, right? Mm-hmm. So I have roulette, I have blackjack, I have dice rolls. I also have a wheel that you spin, and there's a spot on that wheel that you get to win custom kicks. It's just really fun. I'm always just trying to keep it different, trying to innovate, you know, and just bring something different, because if you jump into all the breaker rooms, it's the same thing over and over again, you know, and I don't want it to feel saturated. I want it to feel like organic and real. So that's kind of what the angle that I'm going on, and I'm always giving people more than their money's worth. You know what I mean? Right. Just because I have so much inventory, I'm able to do that. So I give some crazy stuff in there.
And then, so people are DMing you, or you get in contact? Like, do you have a team that helps get all that stuff out? I mean, you're not doing the physical mailing and all in the handling.
I do it all.
Do it all. Wow.
Do it all.
Yeah, you need that's crazy. That's a lot. They're juggling a lot. I can't imagine. I mean, I'm kind of the same way though. I like to have control, and I like to be in the mix and do part of the fun is the relationship.
The shipping and stuff is definitely gonna get there, but yeah, that's what I tell my girl. I'm like, yo, she's like, you need to be more productive. I'm like, yo, there's no way I could be more productive than what I'm doing right now. Like for me to be doing the cards, like I try to be on the cards during the day at a certain time, and then if I can at night. But then I also try to do like, you know, shoes for a certain span of hours, get what I need to do, get done. Then I got to do the endorsement deal stuff, you know? So I have an assistant that's like always on top of me. Like, yo, you got to do this post today. You got to do this tomorrow. Like It's crazy, you know? So I got to be able to juggle everything. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Man, I'm trying to, and do you have like the stock of shoes? Like, do you have like 1,000 pairs or 100 pairs, or like, do you order them as they go? Like if someone orders 4 or 5 pairs and they want a custom, you know, you said like the Air Force Ones or, you know, stock stuff. Do you have different sizes? Do you have to order them each as they come? Or how do you do it?
As the project comes in. So like, as the project comes in, like once the payment's made, I'll just like go ahead and order what shoe size they need, you know, just so I have it in stock with a sticker on it. This is his, bang, bang. Just line them up. That's it.
Love it. All right. Well, let's, I got a lot of questions. I have more questions. We've already done and covered a ton. I do see some great questions in Twitter. And we are going to go through, and again, someone's going to,
so you don't die on me. Give me 1 second.
All right. Yeah, guys. So again, you still got time. We got another podcast tomorrow. We got Adam22, the man from No Jumper, is going to be in tomorrow. That should be a lot of fun. And right now, though, we are going to do questions from here, and you do have a chance for a $109 ticket on Party Poker, which is pretty sweet. So we will go ahead and just knock through those if you guys want to get involved. And I see some live stuff. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we could ask him if Saul. I got to get him a copy of that as well. Die with Zero. I think I got a ton of them around. I ordered a lot, but yeah, we'll ask him with that. I'm sure he'd like that. Good question there. Let's see. We got people fired up. So we're going to go to the Twitter streets, and so I'll just get these queued up here. People are asking about poker. We definitely got to know about poker for you, because people think in general when I have guests on here, it's tied to poker. Oftentimes auxiliary poker is in the books, but I don't really know. Let's start with that. Poker. Give me your experience. Do you play for fun at all? Do you have any idea when's the last time you played at a casino or live, or are you more into the roulette blackjack?
It's when I go to the casinos, I tend to love blackjack, man. I just like the odds. You know what I mean? Even though sometimes it doesn't fall in your favor, it's just quicker. And but as far as like poker, I'm still trying to learn more of like Texas Hold'em style and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because it's way different than just your regular poker. You know what I mean? Right. So there's that, like I had told you before, I feel I need on that. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's a strategy to it and everything. So.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it is one of those games. It takes a long time to dive deep into, and it's a lot of fun. But it doesn't sound like you need any more hobbies right now. You got a full plate. I don't know if we want to get you into learning another thing. It's like golf or poker. It just takes a long time to dive in there. I got a question about books. Do you read? Have you read any good books lately? Have you happened to hear? We got on here. Ghost, I'm asking about Die with Zero. Have you heard of the book by Bill Perkins by any chance? Die with Zero. Have you seen this?
Man, I think I need to read more. I need to be reading more. It's just finding that window to read. Like the most recent book that I'm reading, and it's not a novel or anything, is my boy Mamba Card, somebody in the card community that breaks, and I've become very, very close to a lot of people in the card community, and I've been able to gain a lot of respect and love from the community itself. I have a group of friends that we just started to bond. Like I have a whole group on Instagram that's just like, we're really, really close. So it's been great, not only as far as, card wise, but being able to meet the actual community and how close it is. So somebody in the card community, Mama Cards, who's a close friend of mine now, he actually gifted me the Kobe book. There's like this Kobe, this Mamba book, pretty much about his whole life, and it's all the pictures from his photographer since the day he started in the league all the way through, so it's like really intimate photos and stuff like that. And reading that is very, I guess there's a lot of inspiring stuff in there, you know what I mean? So reading that is kind of like, okay, I could start reading again, you know what I mean? Because I used to love reading when I was little, and then I hated it at one point. But literally when I was little, like everybody that's our age probably knows, like Goosebumps books. I used to blow through those books, bro. Like
I had a whole collection of that. Goosebumps. There was the other one that was similar. I forget. R.L. Stine, right? That was the author. And
and then you had like the more mature versions. I forgot what they were called. Yeah,
I'm thinking of I had the other one as well, but I had the whole collection of the ones for sure. Those were great, man. I haven't heard that title in a long time, but yeah, for sure. Well, reading, you're right. Reading it's great. Just kind of like watching TV series. It can get you, can take a lot of time. And when you're kind of dialed in and you have a family, you got a significant other, there's only so many hobbies in time. For sure. All right. So let's kind of keep going through, man, a lot of great questions here. Okay, yeah, this is interesting. When it comes to customizing shoes, how is the process between you and the customer? Do you prefer when they just say, here's like a general thing, go for it, or do you like when they give you more details and specifics or logos or stuff?
Well, like, let's say for me and you, for our instance, right? Yeah. I love when I get references and stuff. I mean, I also love when somebody's like, yo, it's kind of harder because they're like, just do you. You know what I mean? When they do that. But I love like full freedom. But at the same time, when they say do you, like, how do I know exactly what you're going to like? You know what I mean? Like if you're saying do you. So I always like kind of a direction, and then when I'm doing something more intricate like your pairs, it's always better to get as many references as you can give me. That way whatever I could fit on there without being too cluttered and stuff, I'll go that route. So if I'm going a specific route, I know what color theme to go with and where to place certain things. So yeah, in some instances, more references. Like it's not always like, oh, can you put this here, there. For the most part, everybody trusts my creative process.
Yeah, that's what I would imagine. If you give like a theme or a general theme or something, and then a couple little things or a birthday or like some significant number, you find a way to work it in. But I would imagine it's not as fun. Or if someone's like, hey, put this on the heel or do this way, then it gets a little bit kind of like.
If you tell me a theme, I might already have some crazy shit in mind. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm gonna kill this. And if somebody says do this here and this here, then it's kind of like I'm just printing something on a piece of paper, kind of. You know what I mean? Yeah,
for sure. I see some great questions here we have already covered. If you guys scroll back, kind of talking about how you got into it, whatnot. We've gone over a lot of this. Tell me the cheapest, cool, good-looking, quality sneaker you can recommend. I want to look cool, but don't have much money. This has got to be a common theme. How would you answer that?
Man, it's tough because like the lowest that my rates can possibly go on, like on a basic pair, it's really hard to justify because of time. You know what I mean? Time is money now, and there's just so much stuff on my plate.
Right.
So like I said, normally my rates are like at 1,200 now. I've been able to go as low as maybe like 800, 700 maybe, if it's something very simple. But I mean, that's just kind of what it's going to cost to cover my time and all that goes into it, including the shoes. You know what I mean? The shoes is a whole nother thing. It's like at least $100 for a pair of shoes. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Right.
and that's why, although I would love to be able to do shoes for everybody, this is not for everybody. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a luxury item at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Best day in your life. What comes to mind when you hear that? What would be the best day in your life?
Man.
Just right into it. Put you on the spot.
It would probably have to be when my son was born, man. My son was kind of like the biggest like motivation for me to change my life, because when I was sleeping at my cousin's couch, like 10 years ago, actually it was like, yeah, 9 years ago, my son was a baby, and I couldn't afford to even like buy him anything. You know what I mean? I could barely afford child support. Like I was struggling. I was working at a shoe store, believe it or not. I was working at Finish Line, but I was only making about $200 every 2 weeks because of the child support. So you could imagine, like, $200, it ain't gonna get you shit, you know?
Right. Yep.
I was on the couch and I was like, yo, I need to do something with my life to be able to provide for him. So he's kind of the one that was my main motivator.
Absolutely. I'm with you. Hard to take children's birth as that's got to be sort of I think that for most people that would be true. And I think I could reiterate that for myself. People are asking about the biggest pot you ever won or lost, but they're referencing poker. How about blackjack? What's the biggest win or loss you've ever had in a casino, or I guess in cards? Give me cards. What's the biggest number?
Yeah, I've never played big. Well, the cards was when I hit that Brady. But as far as in blackjack, I never played like super like high limits or anything, just because I'm scared, to do that. But I remember going into the casino and I put a $10 bet on blackjack, and then I think $5 on the bonus. And I hit the bonus and I came out 5 G's. So that was just bananas to me. You know what I mean? After that, like, that was the moment where I was like, yo, I gotta walk out. So I took all my shit and cashed out, bro. Like, that was the smartest move for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why spend more of those winnings than when you could just walk away with a huge pot of money, you know?
Yeah, that's that. I mean, I'm with you. Listen. If you ever want to, we'll when we meet in person, we'll go over a couple poker things. You show me a couple tricks for shoes, and that'd be cool. I got to believe, how hard is it to do what you do? And the machine, I think I saw a note. I'm like, give me an idea of the technology of the machine you use, because it's pretty expensive, right? Don't you have certain equipment it's not something you could just, you're not just going to pick up at your at a garage sale, right? This is like, you got some serious stuff.
The products I use, the paints I use, everything costs money. I've been very blessed to, have the respect and love from these companies where I don't really have to pay for any of my stuff. The paint comes in free. The machines were given to me. I have invested a lot into myself, as far as like my vinyl cutter to make my stencils myself, my computer, all my products that are outside of paints and airbrushes and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of money that goes into it if you want to be able to grind it out at home. Because if you think about it, there's a lot of artists out there that do what I do. They haven't invested in a cutter for themselves, so they have to pay somebody else to make the stencils for them. Then they got to wait for them to ship it to them. So you're already burning through like 5-10 days. And I'm just doing it right away, get it done within 30 minutes, and I'm already on my pair,
Very, makes
I
sense.
use Iwata for my airbrush and my compressor. Iwata is the top airbrush brand out there. And then my paints, I use Jacquard products. They make paints that are made for fabric and leather, and they're airbrush ready. So you just shake the bottle and pop it in. So everything is to get done in a quick rate,
And tell me how long, give me an average pair of shoes. You're doing a custom Miami Dolphins, you're doing a custom sports team, or, an athlete. How much can it, what's the shortest and longest? Give me the whole range on the time it takes on a custom shoe.
It could be about 2 hours. The longest could be about 5.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been able to kind of master the craft to the point where I get it done like that. So if you do the math, sometimes the pair is like 1,500, something like like that. And if I do it in 3 hours, that's 500 an hour, Yeah.
Right.
If you do
Well,
the
of course,
math
you got
that
to
way,
buy
it's
the
crazy.
shoe. There's you tack in all the other expenses, tack in the materials, the equipment, your rent, whatever. I mean, but still, yes, it's like you start, it's a good business for sure.
Some people think, oh, once you place the order, like I'm gonna get on your pair right away. No, there's a line, there's a queue. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to blow through that queue as fast as I can to get to your pair, but there is a queue. You know what I mean? So that's why when I say 3 to 5 hours, doesn't mean like you just paid me. I'm just grinding it out in 5 hours. I'm shipping them out. So there's a queue, but that's a great problem to have because everybody wants to get work from me. You know what I mean? So it's a blessing for sure.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. So some of the poker questions aren't going to be relevant. We've gone over your sort of proudest shoe design. We've covered some of your biggest ones and the ones that you have seen. What about your favorite poker streamer, or take maybe since you don't watch probably poker, what about Twitch? Any streamers or streams or stuff you like to watch, or it's fun, a game, a genre that you enjoy watching? Do you watch any Twitch?
There's actually, I was just talking on the phone with my guy, and you know him, one of my good friends who's actually a poker player, Noah Schwartz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine that I'm doing shoes for as well. And he texted me before. He's like, "Yo, you're on my boy's podcast. Like, how'd that come about?" So I give him a call and we were talking for a bit. Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah, I know he's a big boy in the poker game too. So
sure. Yeah, no, actually, I gotta have Noah on. He's he's got a storied career, and he's a good guy, and he's I know I knew he was into shoes. I did not know that you did something specifically with him. But that's cool. So yeah, man,
he's a great dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I'm sure he's had some Miami customs, some fun designs there. I know he loves NBA and
We're gonna get him some Balenciagas. That's what he wanted on some poker theme. You know what I mean? So he went a little high roller on them.
Love it. I love it. It makes sense. Do you rate Yeezys?
Do I rate Yeezys?
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but no. Is there a shoe rating? Is it like PSA for sports? Is there a shoe rating company? What does that even mean? Rate Yeezys? Is that
I'm trying to understand that question.
Maybe it might not be a bad business, get authenticated. There's a lot of fakes out there. I was shown
kidding out there.
I've seen a lot of crazy stuff going on.
I don't know too much as far as that goes on the fake and the authentic side.
Right.
I feel like that's a whole nother monster in itself. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's one of the issues with sports and sports cards, right? That's one of the biggest risks to the industry. And what some of the guys say, like, ultimately there's going to be, like poker casino chips. There's a thing inside that authenticates it. And there might be like a before and after, like moving, right now, everything you got from PSA or other places and the cases are good. But in 5-10 years, you got to be a little worried about supercomputers and graphic stuff where it could make reprints of some of these cards, and you got to be careful. That's why it's good to go with authentic people like yourself for shoes, or someone like Otia Sports and Josh Luber, these guys that are it's legit, and they know what's legit. So if you start going on eBay down a deep dark web and buying shit stuff, there's a lot of scams. Anything, any industry, there's money, art, cards, whatever. Poker, there's going to be some illegitimate things. So you just got to be careful.
You're not in the sports cards so much, but the Pokemon side. I've heard of a lot of fake Pokemon cards, especially with the huge phenomenon that it is right now again.
Yeah.
Pokemon, yeah, that's something scary. You definitely want to go to somebody legit for that, because I heard that they're making like fake Pokemon packs, not just the cards. So you're opening packs and you think they're
I mean, like I said, any hobby, anything that there's money, there's going to be fish, there's going to be people that are ignorant and just sort of whatever, and then there's also going to be scammers. I mean, that's true of I think almost anything with big money. So you got to be careful. Did you ever own a pair of Reebok pumps?
What did they say about the Reebok pumps?
Did you own a pair of Reebok pumps?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I got it. I don't think I didn't have Reebok pumps, but was that like the Shaq one or something? What was that? Was his shoe, or was like the
pumps? I think Shaq had his own pump version, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the point of the pump was actually, but it was just cool to have,
Right. I do remember that shoe. What sports do you like the most? Seems like you deal with a lot of NBA, but what's your favorite sport in particular?
I'm a big football, basketball guy. If I had to pick a favorite, it'd probably be basketball. But right now, with the card business and tagging out, currently it's football because, like I said, like I told you earlier, it's like stocks, right? So like I want this guy to do great because my stock is in this card, right? So I mean, so it's kind of like fantasy football, right? With fantasy football, you're watching way more games or you're paying attention to way more teams than you normally would. So same with cards. If I have this banger card, you want that guy to do good, even if he's playing against your team. You don't care. You want him to do good because that's what rise your money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a gamble of sorts, and it depends if you want to go modern stuff, guys that are still playing, guys that are brand new, and you can sort of, if you go to guys that are retired and you get a card, you know, it's pretty safe. Like it's not going to fluctuate too much probably, but you can sort of.
I guess he would say he's a gamble, but I don't think I think this guy's his potential is just way up.
Well, when I mean gamble though, is like he could get injured. Like look at Dak Prescott, for example. Like
rookies, you could get stuff like that might not pan out.
It's a little more
right now,
like
everybody that's watching right now,
they're probably going to be great, but like you know, you don't know. Like they could look at Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose had a great career.
Yeah. If you're a high athlete, you might get hurt, right? That's the gamble that you're playing. But the hype is there if you want to buy the cards and sell them. So, but then there's a guy like Tom Brady whose value is not going to go down. There's absolutely no way. If anything is going to go higher because he might, like the way they're playing, they might go to the Super Bowl, bro. Like, you know, that's just how they're playing. The team's clicking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
And then you got somebody like Tua, you know? Tua was selling kind of high, but a little bit lower than Burrow and Herbert. Herbert is like up there right now because the dude's just balling out of control. But then you got Tua, who finally got the starting job. So now his cards are going through the roof right now, right? But let's say Tua starts and he just plays horrible, which we don't want to happen because I have tons of Tua's cards. But if he does horrible, then it's gonna be a decline. You know what I mean? But if he looks really good his first game, then that thing's going up.
I'll give you an example of a Giannis card. Like I got one that for $100 like a year and a half or two ago. That card was $6,800, and then it went down to like $3,200. But you know, they lost in the playoffs, the movement with the NBA. Some people didn't really like how that sort of went down or whatever. Giannis's card drops, but that card's going to be, you know, he's a 2-time MVP. Title, one title. It's going to go through the moon.
I don't think he's going to win a championship in Milwaukee, but I feel like he could get it somewhere else. I mean, the guy's a monster.
Yeah, I'm saying he wins MVP again, or he wins for 5 years in a row MVP. Like that card's going to fly. It's just it's all supply and demand ultimately, and a lot of money is coming in to the sports card industry. I'm a big believer. I get it. Some people think it's too hyped up, but I'm very much believer that it's just getting started.
In the direction it's going, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a fad. It's going to die out. I don't think so, man. With the amount of influencers and like money behind it now, and then the people behind it, I think it's just going to go up from here. I mean, you got big money coming into it now. So
big money, big money. And also it's guys like myself. How old are you?
I'm 33.
33. I'm 34. It's like guys like myself. You actually have a 9-year-old. I have a 1.5-year-old, but guys like me who love sports growing up, collected, sort of took a break. Like you're saying, guys are starting to get a little bit of money. Guys are getting like a different era. Their kids are sort of like into sports, and it's sort of fun for the kids. I saw Mark Wahlberg. He got into it. He's breaking packs. You know, there's a ton of other guys, big name guys that are sort of getting back into it. So I think that's a big reason. Like you said, it also helps you to learn. It's like, oh, like look at Jackie Robinson, look at the era, like the old school stuff. Look at you know, you find out where players went to college. You get to know about someone. You kind of get ingrained in a bit.
Better now, dude. Like the cards look badass now. Like you look at the old cards, it's just some plain ass card. Like, dude, now you got like holograms and crazy shit. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? They just look nice, and that's what sells. You know what I mean? Something that looks really nice sells.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, they're different. Like you're right. Like like the new Mahomes, like this stuff. The prisms are cool, and then you take like old school hockey, and these ones are just like
But it's the funny thing. At the same token, some people think that if it's not shiny, it's not worth shit, and that's the wrong way to think about it, because there's some cards that don't look like shit that are worth a ton of money, you know? So
for sure. I love it. What about so literally, have you played a World Series event? Have you played any Vegas tournaments? Have you played a tournament, or have you ever gone to a cash game, like gone into Commerce or somewhere?
I feel like talking to you and Noah, I feel like I might have the right weapons, man. I'm gonna go in there like ready, like just take out.
I'm not back to Miami for a bit, but if you ever get to Miami in the future, yeah, we have to get Noah. We'll have a game. We'll go to like a home game, play it for fun, very small. We'll play.
I need to learn it. Man. I need to learn it like from the pros, man. So I could go in there not looking like a dumbass, you know.
Well, I'll tell you this, that's the way to do it. Cause it's very smart. If you're not really into poker, the guys that go to a casino, go hop in and buy in and like never have played, like that's obviously, if they're doing it for fun, it's one thing, but you got to be realistic, right? Like you're not just going to go out and start golfing and bet money and
good at it.
They're playing. So you got, that's smart. That's a good way to do it. I like your mentality.
First time I went to the casino and played blackjack, I didn't know like certain things, you know what I mean? I didn't know none of that. So I went in there blind, bro. I mean, I was still winning, but then I was making calls like that people next to me.
Yeah, there's certain like book stuff where you got to hit or do or stay, and you're like going for it, and probably people at the table are looking at you like, what the heck, whatever.
And I'll be like, yo, what do you want me to do? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, realistically, it's your game, nobody else's. Even though like there's like unwritten rules and shit, like I was just playing my game and I kept winning, you know what I mean? So that's just what it was. I'm that guy that they hate at the table for sure.
I love it. What about sports? Do you play any sports yourself?
I used to play basketball. I think if I played now, I'd probably dislocate my hip or something like that for sure.
I'm in that. We're getting old, man. No question about it.
I'm the best out there and I play too hard, bro. Like I play harder than I should, and I end up breaking my shit. Yeah,
that's how it goes. What is your favorite shoe? Just favorite like brand or kind of shoe?
I'm looking at my shoes right now. It's tough, man. It's changed through the years. Now I'm all about comfort. I have a bunch of Jordans, I have a bunch of Adidas, I have every brand possible. But now it's all about comfort. So I think my day-to-days are like my Adidas, man, like my Ultra Boosts and shit, like the dad style, bro. I just put on something comfortable and just walk out,
I love it. Have you thought about starting your own brand? Jumpman Jordan, he's got his thing. Have you because it's sort of in a unique position where your people recognize you with shoes. You do custom stuff. What about your own sort of line where everyone could have like the same kind of ones? Have you thought about that?
I've thought about doing a shoe that is kind of luxury style, but at the same time, it's something that's ready for you to customize if you want to. I've talked to my management team about it. It's just doing it at the right time. So I feel like with these next few moves that are about to be in place, I feel like it will be the perfect time to strike. So, maybe out of nowhere, you'll just see it down the pipeline for sure.
I love it. I love that. Favorite shoe brand currently?
Favorite shoe brand? I'll have to go with Nike, man. I remember when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of money. Well, actually, before that, when I was a little kid, my stepdad was kind of a tightwad, so I just had like some sandals. Like the whole school year, I would wear sandals until my feet are growing out the sandals. Then he'll buy me another pair. So I didn't have the greatest childhood and stuff. But my aunts from my mom's side, they sent me my first pair of Nikes. It was some Scottie Pippens, and I remember when I got those, I literally slept in those shoes, bro. Like I felt like amazing in my first pair of Nikes. So it would have to be Nikes just because that was like my first official pair of shoes. Yeah.
Very cool. What kind of content on the streams or on your YouTube channel mostly that you do? Because I see your YouTube channel, you've done a fair amount of videos. Is this some are with doing, I guess, like reveals with people? Or are you showing how to make shoes?
Yeah, I used to do a lot of tutorials. I want to get back into that so I could teach the younger generation. And I used to do I used to be pretty successful with those as well. So I want to get back into doing tutorials, showing people how to use an airbrush, how to do that. But then I also want to get into, more just vlog style, like of my life, because people that tune into my lives and stuff, they seem to resonate and they love the energy. So I want to be able to take you guys through my day-to-day life, it's like what my life is like. And
cool.
way, right?
I love it. All right, let's see. We got a few more here. Got some Spanish. I don't know. Look, it's not a silver. I don't know what that. Maybe you can read that. I guess something about poker though. Okay, to atri no poker. Like, do you not play poker? Is that what that means, or?
¿Qué te atrae no poker? I don't know. I don't even know if that's Spanish or it's like something else.
Somewhere in between. I was born here in the city of Salvador, state of Bahia, Brazil. Would you like to know how to be the savior in Brazilian? If no, I wonder if he has heard of the city of Salvador. I don't know. Okay, let's just keep it. Have you heard of Salvador, Brazil? That the question. I don't know. This, a shout out
Yeah,
to Sal.
I
All right,
have
let's
people.
go now.
I have people all over the globe, bro. So it gets crazy.
That's awesome. Okay, what did you were sort of art from the beginning. What did you dream of when you were a child to become? And if you weren't doing this, what do you think you would be doing if it wasn't with sports cards or shoes?
Man, if it wasn't with that, I wanted to be an architect. That's what I went to college a little bit for, and I realized it wasn't for me. But I probably would have been like an animator or something like that, somewhere along the lines of that. Definitely, still in the art field, but something like that. I mean, I think I ended up the better route as far as money wise and just passion wise. But
Right.
yeah, it would have still been in art for sure. My second passion is cooking as well. So maybe a chef, something like that.
Very, very cool. Let's see. A lot of poker. Okay, Nike or Adidas, you answered where you're at. You got some cooking as a hobby. What? Let's see. I think. Oh, actually, I was gonna say for Twitch, something that could be cool. Like I've seen some artists, some rapper musicians doing the Twitch in the studio. Like they're literally mixing or kind of just playing around and not even really paying attention to the chat. But like I think it could be kind of cool if you could have like a camera and a setup, you're live streaming and you once in a while you show like a shoe you're doing. Like you basically do the like for 2 or 5 hours you're live streaming and then you kind of pop in, just sort of look up. Someone asks you like, "Oh, why'd you do that?" or what's the name of that paint you're using or who's it for? What's
What I
that
want to
mean?
do for
You
next
know?
season, yeah, what I want to do for next season is like, let's say I'm going to do a shoot for Cat. I want to announce it, and he'll announce it on his social media platform and be like, "Yo, go to his Twitch. He's going to paint my shoes right now." I think that's what will bring a huge amount of people to come watch. And if I'm doing these players' shoes like on live stream, and then they get to see them on the court, it's just a whole nother level.
No, I mean, honestly, like there's this thing now. I think T-Pain, I saw one of his streams and he's sort of like in his studio and he'll just be like mixing with beats or messing around, kind of like playing with stuff or listening to something and like sort of going through his process. Like I just think it's literally Twitch is sort of made for that, where it's like you're basically just doing what you do. People are there. They can sort of, subscribe, support, ask questions. And then, obviously you're focused, you're in your zone, but you might pick up, have a drink of water, look at some of the questions, talk to someone, say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing now," kind of describe how you're doing stuff. I think it'd be very interesting. And again, it's like one of those things that you're going to be doing anyway. You're working and, you could sort of double dip and monetize slash, teach, create and engage with people. I think it would be a really cool thing to do. And I don't know of anyone doing that for this type of stuff.
I definitely want to give people more a inside look, at what I do.
Right. Yeah. And you don't have to do the whole thing. If you're doing a 2 or 5 hour shoe, you do it for 30 minutes or like a part that you think's fun or one that you can kind of, like, yeah, I think that would be very cool. All right, let's see. Okay. Yeah. I'll take this last one. I think you mentioned a few, but this, I'd be curious to hear again. Who did you look up to in the custom game when you were getting started? And I think you did mention a few people earlier. Could you maybe just,
Yeah, the main one that I looked up to was Mosh Customs, because he was kind of like the trailblazer. He's an OG. People now look at me as an OG because they're jumping in. You know what I mean? But he was the OG that I used to look up to and be like, damn, his work is sick. I wish I could be on that level. It's just like anybody jumping into anything, like a basketball player going into the NBA and it's like, yo, I want to be like Kobe. Kobe's my idol, stuff like that. And now I'm able to, when events when you were able to go to events, I'm able to go and like me and Marsh have this respect level for each other now, where it's like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? How you been? And we're both just grinding now. You know what I mean? So now it's like we're right there. You know what I mean? So for being able to look up to somebody, it's kind of like, I don't know, like Giannis. Like he was probably looking up to LeBron, when he came into the league, and now he's like right up there in like the conversation. So it's really fun and it's really cool to see these people and just like grind and be able to be mentioned in the same sentence and stuff like that.
And one of the last questions I did want to ask was about being recognized, and do you, out in your area or out in general, do people come up to you and say, hey, I've seen your stuff or your shoes? Is that something in your local area, or if you're in LA or other areas, do people kind of know you now? Is that something that you'd say you get stopped and people say hello?
I think now that I'm making myself more personable and like I'm more showing my face and, being more involved with the community, it happens more now. It's not as much.
Right.
I've had moments where it's like crazy, you know what I mean? Like, I have had some moments where fans, like, they really like went crazy. And in my head, like, I'm very humble, I'm very genuine. And I just see myself as just any other dude that's just, doing what I love. But other people, they see me as like some shoe god or something like that.
Right.
So it feels good. Sometimes it's a little bit of it's a little awkward for me. You know what I mean? Because like I told you, like I just feel like a regular person, bro. That's just doing what I love. So yeah, it happens.
Very, very, very cool, man. Yeah, I think you mentioned about COVID and how it did impact, though, because you were doing like live events or you travel around some and do some stuff. So in terms of overall impact, how has that kind of affected you to not be able to be on the move at all? Or do you sometimes fly, let's say an athlete or someone, they're in their city during the season? Do you ever go and meet up with someone or take trips like that? Or what, how has it impacted you with not being able to travel?
I haven't really had to leave home. I didn't used to do that anyways. I mean, I live by LA, so like usually those guys would end up here at one moment or another.
Right.
Or I would just ship the stuff out to them. But as far as like event stuff like that, yeah, I haven't had to do that. But I've just been very lucky to land projects now that I'm able to just, from home. I wake up in the morning, go home, go to work, or I'll stay home and I'll wake up and just get to the grind, instead of having to go to an office or something like that. I'm able to just, focus.
Do you have an office or area as well, like a studio with your stuff, or do you have like a home office studio, or do you have a?
I have my home. I have a really cool place where it's considered a commercial residential. Mm-hmm. So it's like a really big loft space. It's about 1,700 square feet. I have my bedroom and stuff upstairs in the loft, and then I have my workspace. My workspace is kind of mixed with my living room. Have my kitchen and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty much here. But I kind of feel like my place is like my office because I spend most of the time other than that at my girls. So like I'll wake up at my girls and it's like I'll come to work. So it's like my place is my job. You know what I mean? So yeah, pretty much.
Very, very cool. Well, we've got we've done a lot. We've covered a lot. We got this giveaway as well right now on Twitter, and we are going to give a $109 ticket away here in a second on your command. But anything else you want to cover? Anything else you want to talk about? You're excited about projects or things people to stay tuned? I know we did cover this with your up and coming page here, which is Kicks and Rips.
Follow Kicks and Rips. If you guys want to see me doing, I'm gonna probably go live in about 30 minutes after this. So I have a new idea that I want to try out with my people. So definitely you can jump in and enjoy the fun. But what's up?
And when you say live, you on Instagram, or will you do on Twitch as well, or is it right now it's focused on you're doing Instagram stuff?
On Instagram, just so I could get the name out as far as my brand. But I will start getting. I already ordered a huge amount of things for my Twitch because I really want to hit the ground running. Just trying to figure out the best way to do it on Twitch because for the most part, in the past, it's been kind of hard to drive traffic from other socials to Twitch. I don't know if people are just lazy to press the button or what it is, but it's finding the right medium. So if anything, I'll probably do some cool giveaways for people that start following.
I will say, like, it's just like anything in Twitch in particular, it's tough too when you have a following like yourself, right? You have an Instagram dominant page and very 400,000+ followers, and like you said, it doesn't necessarily just translate over to other. It's kind of hard to then go on Twitch and you got like you're live for 12 people, 20 people, 60 people, because it can take a while to build a base. And also it's the problem, right? One thing about Twitch, it's consistency, because if you're going on there like twice a month or once every 3 weeks or whatever, you know, people, they want to, if you're on there every day, I guarantee you, if you did your shoes every day and you went live, like it would become a pretty solid thing. But it's just, it's another thing. Like you mentioned your girlfriend about being lazy, this and that. It's like not about that, but you're doing this, you got Instagram, you're doing your shoes, you're doing cards. Now, if you want to set up Twitch, get the right equipment, set a schedule, people, you know, it's hard. You got a kid, your 9-year-old son. It's a lot to sort of take on. So it's not so simple as like, oh, I'm just going to turn it on and, you know, go for it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I promise everybody I'm gonna work on it, you know.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, again, man, congrats on all your success. We are going to do a giveaway here, and we'll let you roll that. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Anyone who asked a question on there and followed the instructions is eligible. We got Adam 22 tomorrow on the podcast. That's going to be live at 2 p.m. as well. We're going to give away this right now. So good luck to someone for a $109 ticket. I'm gonna load that up. Any other closing statements, or you like you guys? I know you got your live thing. We'll see. I gotta check it out. I'm gonna check it out on the Instagram, but I'm gonna give this away. And anything else you want to say to the people out there? Where should they follow you most?
I'm gonna have to talk to you later about this because I want to learn how to do these giveaways things like this.
Oh yeah, man, this is the nuts. This is a cool way to do. There's a bunch of stuff I can show you with Gleam, or this is just a simple retweet tool. But yeah, let's go ahead and make someone's day. $109 party poker ticket. You tell me when. I'm gonna roll it.
All right, let's do it.
Boom, there it is. It's loading up. There was over 100, so it's populating right now. And
it just picked a random person or what?
Yeah, it's a random thing. Well, actually, hold on. I actually copy pasted the wrong thing. Hold on. I mess up once in a while. It happens. Let me go back here. So I go here. I copy this. So I copy this link. This is from this tweet, and then it's going to take anyone that retweeted.
All right.
Yeah, and then you go here, and then I copy paste, and that's not working for some reason. Hold on one second. Let me see. Let me just get back here. So this is going to take. It should work. It works. I've done this only 98 other times. Never had a problem. But, you know, technology's hard, man. Let's see if I can get this done right here. Copy the link. All right. We see that. It's copied.
Paste the link in there, and it'll just generate like a random winner out of all the comments.
Yes, exactly right. So now I'm going to paste, and now it looks like it's working. It says it's loading up. It's going to take a second, and then we message them, and they win the 109. So it's that straightforward. You could do that for a card. You could do it for anything. Do a retweet giveaway. And it definitely gets good engagement. Like on yours, I think, you know, got around 100 retweets going on. So it's let's go. Here it is. The winner is Craig L. He is Craig Leonard, I believe, longtime supporter, and look at this. He's won stuff before. He's gonna win again. That's a 109 ticket. I'm gonna message him, and I'm gonna thank you very much, Saul. Thank you so much for your time, man. This was a treat. Got to know you better. Got to know cards better. I'm always interested in, of course, the shoe, seeing you at the top of your craft. I love it, man. You seem like a great guy. I can't wait to meet in person. If you're ever in Miami in the future, hopefully you're there sometime, and I'll come check you out in LA when I'm there next.
Appreciate you, Jeff, man. We'll be in touch for sure, my guy.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, guys. That's number 97 in the books, Kickstradomis, the man, the myth. We got him on here, and follow him on his socials, and we'll be getting our shoes. I got a couple of shoes coming, so I'll make sure I show you guys when I get my stuff in the mail. I can't wait. Yeah, bump me on the list, man. We're podcasts. We're brothers basically now. Like, get me up there.
Got this. All right, my brother.
All right, man. Thanks. Have a good one. All right, guys, that's it. And we'll see you tomorrow for number 98, Adam 22, the No Jumper podcast host, creator. Gonna be fun to talk to him. He's likes poker, and we'll pick his brain about many different topics. And then on next week, we have number 99 and 100, very special guests, both as always. I thank you so much for your support. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below, and this will be on all the major podcast outlets. Really saw a lot of loyal fans of Saul's there and checking in. Hope we got to all your questions, and thank you for your time. We'll see you guys very soon.